think we'll just do our usual sort of review, but we'll try and, I guess, go quickly through cards that, are more straightforward. And, if a card merits chat, we'll linger a little bit longer. Okay, so we're going to start at the top. And with Agasha Sumiko, Dragon, Bushi, and Champion. And I'll fix it over this bit, the overlay. 5 cost, 4 military, 4 political, 1 glory. While you have the Imperial favor, this character does not bow as a result of conflict resolution while attacking. Baz, do you have any take on Agasha Sumiko?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a few problems with her. She's just a Bushi. She's not a monk. She's not a Shigenja. She doesn't have any fancy abilities, but boy, does she get the job done. So obviously, turn 1, you don't want her because you're not going to have the favor. Still, like 5 cost 4/4 with 1 glory. Like Yakuni is a 5 cost 5/5 with 3 glory, and that 3 glory can actually be a big issue when you get dishonored, because he spends a lot of his time as a 2/2, whereas she's going to be 3/3 from the get-go. The ability, only when you have the favor, fair enough. If you manage to get her out, she fits right into the current classic scheme for the dragon, which is just drop a bunch of attachments and then just keep taking provinces. And what she is able to do is she is able to attack for military, attack for political, and then if you're going first, then she can defend for that last. So that's three conflicts if you're holding on to the favor. And if you're holding on to the favor and you've got her in play, you're probably going to hold on to the favor for a next turn, because she's able to contribute to every one of those conflicts. She's great. I love her. She's absolutely fantastic. It is quite expensive, squeezing under 5 cost, but I think Dragon probably like the higher cost characters. I mean, obviously, if it was cheaper, it'd be good. But getting one big strong guy on the board and having a 1 or 2 small cheap characters that just stick around for a turn is pretty much the way they play. Yeah, I love her. She's great.
Excellent. Anyone else? Anything to add on Agasha Sumiko? Nope. All right. For Andy's sake, we're trying to go quickly today. Well, frankly, for everyone's sake.
Well, mostly for the listeners.
Yeah, we're trying to break hardcore history records for podcast times at the moment. If anyone doesn't know, you basically get like an 8-hour audiobook every episode. Alright, Akodo Toshiro, line character Bushi. A 2/1 for 2 with 2 glory. Action. While this character is attacking, it gets +5 military until the end of the conflict. Provinces cannot be broken during this conflict. At the end of the conflict, if you do not control a commander character, discard this character. Andy, what's your take on Akodo Toshiro?
Card's amazing. It's an amazing card. It's super, super, super good. It's for 2 cost. I mean, the only drawback, and if there is a drawback, is that he's unique. And honestly, that's not even that much of a big deal, I don't think. The +5 and not winning... +5 and not breaking provinces is not that big of a deal. I mean, you can use him. You can only use him on the attack. I guess that's fine. But he can just be a solo attacker that just goes in and bullies a province and bullies a ring, basically, which is super, super cool. I really, really like this card. Really, lots of flexibility. Really nice. I can see him going in pretty much every deck I'm going to build.
Is the commander synergy important, or is this guy going away at the end of the turn most of the time anyway?
I think if you don't have a commander, he's still a really good card. If you do have a commander, he's just a little bit better.
Anyone else?
Current commanders are gifted tactician, general, or honored general, and in theory the seal. The gifted tactician's at one of those 2 costs, draw a card when he wins. So
yeah,
you're going to see him along the way.
Yeah, you're going to see all the commanders are generally pretty decent in line. So I mean, Honor General and the Gifted Tactician, there are 2 staple cards in the deck, I would say. So I mean, you're going to have the added consistency with this guy fairly often, I would say.
Cool. Anyone else? Any thoughts on Akodo Toshiro?
Yeah.
Justin, do you want to go first?
Yeah, another good. He opens up some slightly more fringe cards, like Fallen in Battle. Sometimes it's much more important to kill a really big enemy character than it is to break a province.
Yep.
So it has loaded up their champion. Akodo Toshiro can give you the +5 you need to win by +5 and take that threat off the board. I'm not necessarily recommending Fallen in Battle yet, but he does open it up. And again, when it comes to not breaking your province, if the difference between like losing a conflict and taking a ring is +5ing this guy and then discarding him after the conflict, it's that's an action well spent. Yeah, it really is a no-brainer. So he's a great safety net for tight conflicts, and yeah, just as Andy was saying, allows you to bully rings and opens up and route as well. Like if you have to route a key personality out of the conflict, then he can boost and route them out. He's just.
Does Fallen Battle sort of start looking better with every pack we see?
No.
Yes. Yeah. I disagree with Andy.
We were pretty dismissive.
I think it does. I don't think it's quite there yet, but I think it's a card that when you get hit by, you're going to know all about it for a start.
Oh yeah.
But it's just one of those sneaky tech plays that could start to find its way into certain decks now, and I wouldn't be at all surprised.
Joe from Cincinnati, just a sec. Joe from Cincinnati is saying in the chat it's anti-synergistic with for Greater Glory, and that's fine. That's not actually the purpose of this card at all. For Greater Glory is when you're going to send a wad of units in. This guy is probably going to go in on his own and try and make a cheap play, either on a ring or, like Justin was saying, for a Fallen in Battle. He's got a totally different purpose from the rest of the synergy with for Greater Glory, in my opinion.
I mean, only bad players are playing that card anyway.
True.
This bad player is playing it.
Yeah. All right. So now a card which has a little bit of history: Backhanded Compliment, which Scorpion can't play because it's a keeper role only. Choose a player. That player draws one card and loses one honor. Owen, will this go into a Crab Dishonor deck?
It's being considered. There is a Crab Dishonor deck being built that focuses on the so-called drop bears, where you're looking at playing. You have kind of 9 personalities in your deck with Covert, and you basically choose some honor off them that way. And then when the time is right, you levy and backhanded compliment them at their last 2 or 3 points of honor. It's an interesting deck idea. The problem with it is that you need to be able to defend really well with it. If you can manage that and you can stop someone who realizes what you're doing from regularly grabbing air, fire, and to an extent earth, I think the deck is actually pretty good. But it's going to need to see the full gamut of cards, because we've already seen cards in Pack 5 which could be very important to it. And I think there's going to be some cards in Pack 6 as well, which are going to be important for that deck, if some of the rumors we've been hearing are true. So, Backhanded Compliment, it's not like... people are sometimes compared to stuff like Breach of Etiquette. It's not Breach of Etiquette exactly, but what it is it's about... It's there for a bomb. You don't want to play this just in turn 1 and go, ooh, I'll backhand compliment my opponent twice. You know? You're crazy if you're doing that. This is for staying in hand, waiting to an opportune moment, and then bombing somebody out. Is there a play to it? Yes. But it is going to be about making sure you can deny somebody air and you can deny somebody potentially fire. I think Phoenix is probably going to be one of the more obvious builds with this. I think there will be a crab build as well, but it's all down to how well they can defend, because they've got to be able to stop you from getting air. And Phoenix are really good at that. And if you can manage that and maintain kind of decent board state, I think it could be a real deck. But it's a specific tool. It's for, I need to get the last 1 or 2 points of honor off you. This is me doing it. That's cool.
Justin, have you had a play around with Phoenix Dishonor? Are you looking at this card?
I haven't actually. No, I've been focusing much more on Phoenix Conquest, which I think is overall just a stronger build at the moment. And bizarrely, well, actually, Scorpion wouldn't be my first stop for a Dishonor Splash if I were building. I think I would actually go with Crab.
Yeah.
Because the thought of Witch Commander on a Prodigy of the Waves is frankly delightful. So, yeah. So, but that said, I do think that the design of Phoenix decks is going to start diverging. Yeah, I mean, it's diverging already. But the Dishonor build I think there is absolutely a Dishonor build for backhanded comp. I'm not sure how good it is because. Yeah, it's a card that does nothing for most of the game, and you're waiting. Yeah, I mean, as Owen was saying, you're waiting for the opportune moment to hit someone with it. I don't know. I wonder if this is a card that looks much better in theory than it is in practice, but I will certainly be testing it out myself.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I am interested to see if Tattered Missive, which I think is really only playable in Phoenix with Backhand Compliment at the moment, whether they'll be able to use that, because Phoenix have a decent number of courtiers. Will you be able to slowly put the pieces together for that final rush? Because Phoenix have a lot of card draw.
Very possibly. I think Tattered Missive is also viable out of Crane because you've got Shizaway, who won't go away as long as you control the favor. So she can, as long as you're controlling the favor, she can bow many times to, over a course of several turns. But yeah, I completely agree. I think Tattered Missive is absolutely I think you need Tattered Missive to give Backhand a compliment the consistency you require to make it a viable part of the bomb, of a bomb out strategy. So yeah.
Okay. Before the Throne, Neutral Province, which is Air Province of Strength 5, and I know there's some talk of this going to Scorpion decks at the moment, and whether it's better than Secret Cache, which is kind of a pretty high benchmark. So, Canopy the Stronghold Province, interrupt when this province is broken, take 2 honor from your opponent. So, some more Dishonor. Baz, any thoughts on Before the Throne?
Yeah, more Dishonor is good, but who's going to play it? Scorpion are unlikely to give up Secret Cache, so that's probably not going to happen. It might make a place in Crab Dishonor, I guess. It's another big 5 province strength, which makes it pretty tough to take. And do they really mind if you're not taking the provinces versus if you're losing 2 honor? So that would probably work out quite well for them. Crane, I guess I could see it. They're Secret Rare, so they can play 2 different options. So they could go pushing along with Art of Peace as a second option. I do like it. I do think it's a really good card. But yeah, the provinces are a tricky one.
Yeah, and the fact that it's on break rather than say on reveal means it's probably if you don't break this on the initial push, it's just going to be a province to avoid.
And possibly a province to farm, as some of the Dishonor players like to talk about.
Yeah.
You can keep hitting this again and again, triggering air. It's a safe province. It's not going to do anything as long as you don't break it. The flip side is there have been suggestions about people playing Bonsai on their opponent's characters, desperately trying to break it, and attack with Muramoto furying their own characters to make sure they don't.
That's interesting. Cool. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, the five problem strength is sort of a disadvantage on it. I think the best card to play with this is Talisman of the Sun, the keeper card that was previewed initially from Pack 6, which allows you to change which province your opponent's attacking. So when he goes hard as hell into you, you all of a sudden go, actually, Talisman of the Sun says we're over here before the throne, and you're going to break that, and I'm going to take 2 honor off you. And that's a significant amount of honor. So I think that's going to form the basis of a deck, or at least part of a deck, having a really nasty row of provinces and Talisman of the Sun directing people into the wrong one every turn. So I'm looking forward to that. Cool.
Okay, now we have a Dragon Attachment Tattoo, Centipede Tattoo. 0/0 for 0 cost, monks only. The character gains the tattooed trait. They don't have to have the tattooed trait. And attached character does not bow as a result of conflict resolution in conflicts which it lost. So, more conflict resolution, non-bowing tech for Dragon, Baz?
Yeah, and that kind of stuff is always great. You're never unhappy to see it. So, in theory, a monk character with this tattoo can participate in all 4 conflicts. But to do that, you're going to have to lose 3. So, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like the best way to use this is a speed bump. If you can defend with a character with Centipede Tattoo and make sure the province doesn't break, but they still do get the ring. You can just keep doing that, and you're not going to bow, which is kind of cool. It saves your provinces, gives you some options, but obviously you're giving up rings as you do it. I like it. I'm not sure about the monk selection yet. Anytime I put together a deck without thinking about traits and just thinking about stats and abilities, I don't end up with a lot of monks. So that may be a bit of a dilemma for a while. But this is a card I like, and I think it will see play.
And continuing the fine tradition of bold Dragon Clan females.
It is absolutely delicious. I'd never change it. Never.
Excellent. Okay, any other thoughts on Centipede Tattoo? No?
Well, I just really love the design of this card. It creates interesting decision points for the person it's played against. I don't think it's overly powerful, but it's a really interesting card, and I hope we see kind of more cards that are as interesting as this. Be great.
Cool. Curry Favor, 0-cost Crane event. Reaction: after a character you control bows as a result of conflict resolution from the second conflict you declared this round, ready that character. So, Justin, what are your thoughts on this? A little bit quirky, certainly.
Yeah, definitely quirky. I'm kind of the opinion that it's a really good card, but probably not quite good enough. But I'm prepared to be wrong about this, actually. I really hope I'm wrong. It's a 0-cost unbow action, which is very, very powerful. Most unbow actions, in fact, I think all unbow actions cost at least cost 1 fate. So a 0-cost unbow action is nothing to be sneezed at. The restriction, obviously, is that you have to declare 2 conflicts, which is not that much of a restriction. You'll be trying to do that most turns. And the payoff is, if you're the first player, you get to have a character ready to defend against their second conflict if they declare one. And if you are the second player, you get a character ready to presumably claim the Imperial favor. So it's so obviously if you're playing Yoshi, there's an added incentive for Curry Favor because it helps you fuel Yoshi, which is a good thing, which is a great thing actually. And even beyond that, it's a card which solidifies the end of your turn a little bit. So, as I said, the fact that it's so restricted in when it can be played is definitely against it. At least see it drop out of decks or not be included in decks. But I really do like it. I do like this card.
Anyone else thoughts on their? I'm trying to say curry flavors, Curry Favor.
I like the favor that it's good at getting the Imperial favor.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, makes sense.
It also helps with characters that have bow actions, as long as those bow actions can be played later. The only example I've seen so far is Tattered Missive, because you can play Tattered Missive after the conflict phase is over. But I'm sure we're going to see more actions like that down the line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Character from, I want to say, the very first fiction. Is that correct? Certainly one of the early ones. Doji Shizue. Crane character, courtier, storyteller. A 1/2 for 2 who has 1 glory. During the fate phase, if you have the Imperial favor, this character cannot lose fate or be discarded. Owen, what are your thoughts on Doji Shizue?
She really, really likes Tattered Missive. She's great with it. So yeah, she's going to be studying storybook fragments for some time. Any character that hangs around for basically for free if you have the right tools. That's not bad. You need to hang on to favor, but that's often not too bad for Crane. So yeah, I mean, she's anyone who hangs around, awesome. And she's really good with
just bring up Tattered Missive since I've mentioned it quite a few times. So it's a +1 politics for 1 cost attached to a courtier character. The attached character, search the top 5 cards of your conflict deck for a card, reveal it, add it to your hand and shuffle.
So yeah, the bow cost on that effect was pretty rough, and because it's an attachment, you want to stick it on a character that's going to stick around for a while, but you want to stick it on a cheap card because you want to bow it. So Shizue is actually perfect for it because you can, in theory, spend only 2, stick the attachment on her, and she'll be there, as Justin was saying earlier, for the rest of the game. And it's an action that you can take after you've claimed the Imperial favor to keep her around as well.
Any other thoughts on Doji Shizue? Baz, did you have something else you were going to say?
Yeah, it's just she's not a fantastic character by herself. But like two costs for a 1/2 is decent, but she doesn't really have much ability if you think about it. However, if she sticks around for 2 turns, or 3 turns, she's basically just a free character after that. And that is valuable, and that is pretty good. I think she's a character that will easily get cut from decks. I wouldn't expect to see 3, maybe 2 in a deck. But I like her. I really like this card.
Cool. Okay, then we have the Scorpion Diplomat, a Fawning Diplomat, who's 3 cost for 1/3 with 0 glory and a courtier. Interrupt when this character leaves play, claim the Imperial favor. Owen, how good do you think she is? Is she a sort of fire off with 0 fate character? And is that a little bit expensive?
Almost certainly. I think she cost 2 for a while, and then someone assassinated her to steal the favor at a crucial moment. I went, can't be having that. And she probably went up 1 politics as a result. She's 0 glory courtier. That's actually handy in Scorpion. One of the problems is Scorpions, the quality of their personalities is so high that in another clan, I think people will be very excited about her. But in Scorpion, they're kind of like, well, she's a bit understated, isn't she? And for Scorpion, she certainly is. That said, 0 glory courtier, that's good. And if they get things that they can leverage the Imperial favor for, Scorpion will be very happy with that. I'm trying to remember, have we seen Scorpion's Imperial favor action or character this so far? I don't believe we have.
I don't think we have. Which is interesting. Sure. I mean, I feel Scorpion have had less favor synergy than a lot of the other clans so far.
I'm sure they'll get something. Everyone else will too.
Yeah, get it.
Actually, it's the Shinobi who pitches favor to get +2 military to all your.
Yeah. All your Shinobi. Yeah.
She was terrible.
No, that's not in there yet. Okay. Any other thoughts on Fawning Diplomat?
Yeah, just as a counter, just as a small counter to what Owen's saying, yes, she is somewhat understated for Scorpion, but Scorpion can also afford, because Scorpion are generally so powerful on the Dynasty side, I think they can afford a couple of slots to bring in a Fawning Diplomat, which gives them control over another area of the game. So I think she's very good. I think she's very good. And I would fully expect to see her as a 2 of. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I go to playing 3 of her, unless the metagame dictated it. But I can certainly see her as a 2 of.
She makes Censure much more consistent, which
is
definitely an enticing reason to play something.
It feels like for Scorpion at the moment, maybe a big benefit from the favor will be denying it from your opponent as much as using it for yourself.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I lost a game last week to a Censure, which Hurt.
I tell you,
That's my card. You're not allowed to use it against me.
Century
My spoiler.
debate. Centuron policy debate is like the happiest feeling in the world. It's it's like, no, I'm going to
Dodged a bullet there.
Yeah.
Travis thinks she replaces favored niece. Not in my Scorpion deck, I would say, but it'll be interesting to see.
I think it's a fair point.
I mean, favored niece.
I think the favorite niece is one of the more underwhelming characters in Scorpion.
I think
it's really good in the bid 1 Scorpion. Later on in the game, if you end up with some assassinations that you can't use because your honors drop too low, it's a great if you get a couple of dead cards in your hand.
Agreed. And with Scorpion everywhere at the moment, in such a powerful position in the meta game, then maybe that's just what pushes the niece ahead of the diplomat a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm finding the card for me that's most likely to get cut from my Scorpion sort of defensive dishonor. Well, John's Scorpion defensive dishonor, let's be honest, is the Yogo. I want to say outcast, the one who's gets +1/+1 if you're less honorable. Who's really just a 2/2 Shigenja at the moment for me. Anyway, diverging.
Okay.
Gaijin Customs. So finally a really good unicorn card. Just not for unicorn.
Just not for unicorn.
Owen, any thoughts on Gaijin Customs?
There's a ton of good unicorn cards. They're just almost all on the conflict side, and other clans play them. With this, if you are running, which we are considering, Talisman of the Sun for defensive control, Spyglass for card draw, Aichi Wayfinder for another 1/1 for 1 with a province scouting effect, Gaijin Customs, because it only costs 1, you can fit 2 copies in pretty nicely. And it is a savage card. You need to have a unicorn card in play, but that is just your character straightens, just costs 1. That's pretty amazing. Especially given in some clans like Crab particularly, when you run into Muramoto's Fury and you feel very sad inside. If you have your guy with a Spyglass and you Gaijin Customs, you go, well, let's just hop him right back up and actually take that province. It's a really solid card. I think 2 Spyglass is 4 influence, and then the Wayfinders are 1 each. That's 7. The Talismans are 2 each. 9, 10, 11, and then you put in 2 Gaijin Customs, and away you go.
I'd be a little nervous about the Wayfinders because the Wayfinders have a tendency just to stick around for a single turn, whereas the Spyglasses, and I for my own reasons like to play the favorite mounts. Those attachments will probably stick around for 2 or 3 turns if you're lucky, giving you a little bit more play out of it. But yeah, I mean, it probably doesn't make much of a difference. You've got so many unicorn cards in your deck because all but Spyglass are basically 1 influence. You're probably good to go no matter what.
And so, have any of you guys tested with this and figured out kind of how tricky the condition is to beat of controlling?
I played Unicorn Splash in Phoenix last weekend, and it was a ton of fun, absolute ton of fun. And again, Spyglass was ludicrous, especially on Prodigy of the Waves, which is the best Phoenix clan personality. Like there were games where I'd been bidding 1 for the entire. Obviously, yeah. Well, goes without saying. No, there were games where I had bid 1 the whole way through, and because of Spyglasses and Prodigy of the Waves, I had a hand of 15 cards. You know, it's 2 Spyglasses on a Prodigy is both one of the dumbest and most awesome things I've seen in any card game.
That makes me feel physically ill.
Oh, that's horrific.
It was amazing. It was amazing. But getting back to Gaijin Customs, what Baz says is right. The Wayfinders were a little flaky, and I did find a couple of times I had the Customs in hand, and I was literally gagging for a unicorn card to enable me to play this. But when you can play it, this card is so smooth and so effortless. You almost kind of don't realize how good it is. But it's really superb. It's a really good card, and the great thing is that the Unicorn Smash you really want to play, all the cards are permanents of some kind. They're either characters or attachments. So if you're splashing unicorn, it's easy to include one. I'm not sure I'd stretch to two, but I'd be sorely tempted to stretch to two. I'd be sorely tempted to try and find a way to get two in. But it's just a great card. It's a great card.
And how good is this for unicorn themselves? Well, to get that non-unicorn character out.
So
lots
out
of
of
head
the
shaking for podcast listeners.
out of the go on, Andy.
The only way I can see it is if you're playing conflict characters,
Yeah.
and then that's Tattooed Wanderer maybe would be your best choice if you're splashing dragon. And then I'm just not sure. I'm not sure any other clan would be. Is any other clan really worth splashing in unicorn? Like for their conflict characters?
I mean, Crane
I've seen.
have.
Yeah, unassuming Yojimbo and political rival are the two options.
Okay. Yeah.
Probably more the political rival. The political rival can attack politically with covert and then can defend at +6. The unassuming Yojimbo doesn't quite have the same flexibility as I recall. We're going to see Seppa Nishikawa at some point soon enough, who is basically him and the... Oh, God, what are those old guys that we don't play anymore? The
Tomo Courtiers or the Seven Guardsmen or the Maya Mystics?
but the small characters probably aren't worth it. And no, I was thinking the one that you put Fate on.
Oh, Wandering Ronin.
Oh, Wandering Ronin. He's not Imperial though.
No, he's not Imperial, but he's
not.
one of the best options for straightening with Gaijin Customs, which probably says where it
That's
is.
true. Yeah.
So fingers crossed, we see some exciting cards, unlined cards that you can stick in your decks. But it's not there right now for Unicorn. But it could be something down the line. We just have to wait and see.
Once all the Mantis cards come out, all the Mantis conflict cards.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, guard duty, Lion Clan attachment. +0/+0 for 1 cost, which is a keeper roll only. Which lion are?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. If attached character is defending, honor it. Andy, thoughts?
I think it fits in a certain deck. There's a certain deck that just in line where you can just honor every single character in your deck. I feel you've got Honor General, you've got the 0/1 with 3 glory that honors herself. You've got this thing now that honors stuff. You've got I think this is probably a good card, in a better card in other decks than it is in line. But it makes I think there's a place for it in a Lion Honor deck there somewhere. I will at least try to build a Lion Honor deck, and this may appear in it.
Okay. Justin, Travis reckons this might be one of the best Phoenix cards in the set.
Oh yeah, he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. It's one of the best Phoenix cards. So the Phoenix deck, again, the Phoenix Conquest deck that I'm building at the moment, or certainly that I'm looking at the moment, is just honor as much as you possibly can, because Phoenix are really good at, and this card fits right into that. So I think the Lion Splash otherwise is actually fairly thin. There aren't that many really good cards in Lion that you want to include. Like Ready for Battle makes the case itself, absolutely. But honestly, there is a strong case for playing Lion just for guard duty, because actually, Travis points out this with Stand Your Ground is pretty gross, and yes, I completely agree. It's pretty gross because you can just simply keep honoring yourself on defense and then standing your ground to stay in play.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a superb card in Phoenix. Really, really superb. And are there other clans that would play it? I'm sure.
Yeah,
Unicorn
really?
might have a potential honor deck slowly building up. But with giver of gifts, you can keep moving this attachment around and honor up a different person or different character every time.
Yeah, that's also worth noting. So guard duty is absolutely one of the best cards in this pack. Unicorn can use it. Yeah, obviously that sounds great actually out of Unicorn, just shifting it around and honoring up people. For Phoenix, it's as I said, superb. So I think it's going to be a big deal in honor decks going forward.
Yeah.
So
That's
Easy
really
honor
solid.
effect.
Yeah, a lot of people
and I mean,
splashing line anyway, so
yeah, I mean, one of the kind of I suppose one of the downsides or nice things about this in a way is that because you're defending, you're not going to get to attack honored without some other card effect intervening to straighten the character, which is really good. I quite like the design aspect of that. However, I mean, other things this card is really good at. This card is really good with Spies at Court because you can honor yourself Spies to remove the honor, then honor yourself again next turn. So anything that involves dishonor as a cost or as an effect, obviously, guard duty increases the synergy there.
Yeah,
just like it's like a more expensive but way better magnificent kimono. So it's really good.
cool. Okay. Guardians of the Saikitsu. A neutral Earth province with 5 strength. Earth roll only. So who does that leave? I always have to ask this.
Crab.
Reaction: after this province is revealed, bow each character with a printed cost 2 or lower. How is this for Crab? They like their low cost guys usually.
It's a really interesting card. It's a bit random about when it fires, unless you toss it on your stronghold. The Earth slot is very competitive for Crab anyway. I know a lot of people said if we'd taken Seeker of Earth, this would slot into our decks a hell of a lot faster. And we certainly give it a go, because if you're not playing this, you're giving up the tank provinces, you're giving up some of the new one, which basically has to be destroyed twice, and you're giving Defend the Wall, which is a lot. It might see its day, but at the moment, especially with the metagame kind of pushing towards people relying a bit more on their big characters, at least a little bit, we shall see. Everyone who's played it has described it as, sometimes this felt awful, and my opponent flipped it and it bowed 2 of my guys out. I felt terrible. So we'll see. It's a very powerful effect. It's a really, really powerful reveal effect. But it's only for Crab at the moment. We'll see. And no one's spotted, or no one's come up with you can't cut the 2 costers and 1 costers out of your deck. So it's a bit chaotic. So
maybe down the road there will be a deck which sort of works a little bit better. Okay, so then we have the Phoenix Magistrate, Haughty Magistrate, a 3 cost 2/2, 1 glory, Bushi Imperial Magistrate. While this character is attacking, characters with lower glory than this character do not count their skill towards the resolution of this conflict. Justin, what are your thoughts? One of the better magistrates?
The best magistrate.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's particularly close.
Scary card.
It's a ludicrous card. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Single-handedly, this card beats Crab. Crab, you bring out a Haughty Magistrate against Crab, and they have to get it off the table with Way of the Crab, or else they just lose, because they don't have a single personality with 3 glory. So the Haughty Magistrate can march over every single turn and just break a province, and there's almost nothing they can do about it. Against this card is one of the cards that against Scorpion, it's incredibly strong because they have Kachiko, and apart from that, everybody else gets blanked. And really, it's really only Phoenix and Lion that don't get absolutely ruined by this card single-handedly. And all you have to do is just attack with this character and bow your stronghold. It should be in every single Phoenix deck, bar none. Obviously, in conflict decks, you can go over and break provinces. If you're playing Dishonor, it's a 2 force character that is not going to break any horrible provinces, and which basically guarantees that you win whatever conflict you go into. So if you want to win fire, just declare fire, send your Haughty Magistrate. If you want to win earth, same again. So it's just an immense card, an incredible offensive just an offensive powerhouse. An offensive powerhouse.
So if you have two of them, one is going to cancel out the other. So how many do you play in your deck?
Oh, you play 3 without question.
So play 3?
And if you've got... Oh, yeah. And the thing is, if you've got 2, then you just don't send them into the same conflict.
Yeah.
Why would you? You just send them to 2 attacking conflicts.
Okay. They're just as good political and military. Okay.
Yeah, and you just pump the one with the stronghold where they actually defend and have a sizable defense.
Yeah.
Do you think this card should have been given something like a political restriction?
It should probably have some kind of restriction. It's a card for which there aren't a lot of answers at the moment.
Yeah. Not even assassinate, for God's sake.
Not even assassinate. It's best magistrate in the game. One of the best characters in the game.
It's the fact that you have control over it. You can decide when to turn it to dial it up and dial it down.
Yeah.
Travis also points out that often the threat of bang, you don't need to buy your stronghold because the threat of bagging your stronghold means people just can't defend against him. Yeah, which is an excellent point.
Yeah.
Seems really good.
Yeah. So it's I mean, I took Tsukune out for Haughty Magistrate, and Haughty Magistrate is better. So
wow.
Yeah.
So this is your 3rd or 4th clan champion. That's more clan champion-y than your clan champion.
Pretty much, yeah. She's
while having a really, really good clan champion.
Yeah, it's like the library, K-Day, the magistrate,
the Prodigy of the Waves.
Prodigy of Waves.
Yeah, Prodigy's the new.
Prodigy is the actual champion.
Yeah.
And Tsukune is still the best clan champion.
She is
by many reports. By many reports.
Oh no, I mean,
including Justin's.
I agree. No, I think she is the best clan champion. But I think certainly while in this period of experimentation, and certainly as Phoenix have been getting a bit more aggressive, I found that Tsukune doesn't bring enough in terms of board control early in the game.
Wow,
I think she's. Yeah, I mean, she's your entire turn invested into a 4/4 character who's incredibly vulnerable to dishonor. So, I mean, I'm almost certainly going to bring Tsukune back into the deck, at least as a one of, if not 2. But for what I think Phoenix, Phoenix Conquest is trying to do, I'm not sure she's. Yeah, I don't think she's as good as she was. I think she'll be forever in. Yeah. Yes.
With Scorpion
and Shoju. The other best champion. And Shoju's kind of getting pushed out. I think Tsukune will always have a place in Dishonor because she is resources. Essentially, it's a conflict you don't have to attack for, and you get resources. But Haughty Magistrate is. It's an environment-defining card, and it's one of the reasons that I think Phoenix are going to be a nightmare matchup for Crab once this cycle.
For Phoenix, the recommendation is to play it. What about for the rest of us?
So I've been thinking about it. The worst thing the Phoenix player could do to you will be only attack militarily with this guy, because what you want to do with him is you want to dishonor him. So if you dishonored him, at least he's not contributing anything. So to get any value from him, they need another 3 glory personality going with him, which is Hida, the Serene Warrior, Tsukune, and probably is it the Fearsome Mystic in an air conflict, or is it someone else in the
air?
If you can only if your Phoenix player only does military with him and uses him to batter you into the ground with an honored Haughty Magistrate who's going to be 3/3 and you've had the boxing is 5/5 and none of your guys contribute, you're in a world of hurt. What can you do? The big card that comes to mind is Cloud the Mind. And I think some plans, Crab at the moment, struggle to play Cloud the Mind. They are probably going to have to try and find a way to play Cloud the Mind. Or you could see a situation where it's mid-game, there's 3 provinces broken, and your opponent flips a Haughty Magistrate. And you're like, I'm dead here unless I do something really, really clever. And that's pretty much just Cloud the Mind. Getting someone off the board with Way of the Crab can be done, but it is usually done at the end of the turn. It is not done at the start of the turn. Controlling him for the turn can be done with cards like Jade Tetsubo, which I'm actually going to return to in this podcast in a minute. But other than that, it's pretty much Cloud the Mind. If you can dishonor him, awesome. Scorpion can do that. They at least have some answers there. But a lot of other clans are like, yeah, our way of dishonoring someone is court games. Now, route is being mentioned. You can route him. But I will be shocked if the deck playing Haughty Magistrate is not also playing 3 favorable ground. So, yeah.
To always keep him in or get him out. Yeah.
What's worse is the Master of Gishitoshi attack this guy in a horrific fashion.
I mean, in terms of dishonoring, Phoenix are also not without ways of re-honoring their guys.
Very true. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a lot now.
So what we're saying is everyone is pretty screwed.
Phoenix took a huge. They get a huge power spike from this pack and from all the packs. I think they come out of the cycle one of the top dogs.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's impossible to argue. I think, they're after Pack 6, they're absolutely one of the top clans.
And just on a question from Annadale, how much fate does this guy get when you build it?
It's gonna make I suppose. Well, I mean, the answer with 5 rings is always it depends,
of course.
But in general, I would put a minimum of 2 on him. A minimum of 2. If you've got more to spare and it's not going to wreck the rest of your turn, I would put as much as you can. Like if you've got 12 fate or something, or 12 fate on a turn, I would have no problem putting 3 on this guy, none whatsoever.
All right.
He's just that powerful. He is a clock. He is a literal clock for your opponent.
How much fate does this guy get? How much fate do you got? As Joe says. That's pretty much it. Okay, so expect to see him in Phoenix decks for as long as Phoenix have that stronghold.
He should be in every Phoenix deck. Currently, with the current stronghold, every Phoenix deck. Great.
Okay, let's crack on and do the Lion Imperial, Implacable, I should say, Magistrate, who's a 2/2 for 3 and a Bushi Imperial Magistrate with 1 glory. While this character is attacking, only this character and honored characters count their skill towards the resolution of the conflict. Andy, where do you stand?
There's a deck that this card goes into. I'm not sure it goes into every single line deck. I don't foresee that being the case, but it's. I don't think it's. Travis is saying in the chat, it's almost as good as Haughty Magistrate. I think it's not quite that good. It's not on the same tier. It's like this for me is like Ujiaki versus the Crane personalities. Kikiriyoshi, was it Kikiriyoshi?
Yeah.
This is sort of Kikiriyoshi's good. He's not on the same level as Ujiaki. This card is good. It's not on the same level as Haughty Magistrate. I think this one takes so much more setup for it to have the payoff. Plus, your opponent can get around it by honoring their own characters. Haughty Magistrate, there's no way to bump glory apart from really just the Phoenix box, right? That's the only way you're bumping someone's glory. There's no way around that card. And this one, you can play around it. You can do things about it. Lion can sort of, there is a deck there, like I was saying earlier, with the guard duty and stuff. There's a deck that can honor basically everyone in the deck. I don't see. Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to have everyone honored though. Like if you declare a political conflict with just this magistrate, you're going in with 2. Anyone else on the board who's not honored can go in with 0.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, absolutely, yeah. And you can honor him during battle. It's a good card. It's definitely a good card. It's probably better than some of the other. It's probably one of the best magistrates. But when you see Haughty Magistrate, I just don't think it's in the same class. Which is weird for Lion. Lion should get all the great cards. They should get all the best ones, right? But no, it's still a good card. It's still definitely a good card.
And so, is this sort of good enough for the make Lion decks? How's the 3 slot for sort of competitiveness?
It's fairly competitive, but you'll easily fit 2 of her in. You definitely should, because against some clans, against Crane, against Phoenix, she's a bit random. But against Scorpion, she's good. Against Dragon, against Crab, against Unicorn, she's a beatstick. And because of Kitsu Spirit Caller, if she's going to win you the battle, you just haul her in. And Lion have a number of guys that honor themselves. They've got 2 people with pride. They've got the Honor General. They've got the Venerable Historian. They have ways to honor themselves.
Yeah.
And she's just a beating. And considering how hard it can be to stop Lion sometimes when they're on the warpath, the fact that you can just Spirit Caller her in is just like take the wind completely out of your sails. That's another
really
card
true, actually.
That's another card that demands an answer. You need an answer to this card, or like you can be sitting there with all of your guys. Like I'm thinking that this card might force a metagame where Shameful Display ends up going on your stronghold, because you need to be able to Shameful the Holy Magistrate, be able to Shameful the Implacable Magistrate, because you have no other way in your deck to dishonor somebody. Like the thing is, Court Games is the dishonor window most people use, or Ring of Fire. Ring of Fire is a situation when you can get it off, and sometimes you have to play for it, and you can't always play for it. And Court Games is only a political conflict, and your opponent's going to choose who they dishonor. Scorpion can target zap people, but that's about it. So it's going to be, it's a devastating card against some clans. Devastating. Like if the Stoic Magistrate helped swing the Crab Lion matchup to Crab, the Implacable Magistrate helps swing it back to Lion. In a real way. Like Crab need an answer to this guy just as much as they need an answer to Holy Magistrate. You know?
Yeah.
And again, we're saying send home. And yeah, send home can work, but I mean, I see a lot of guys like these magistrates really benefit from favorable ground,
and then
favorable ground sticking in the decks for a long time to come.
Lion have Test of Courage as well, which will bring it in and honor it. So
problem solved. Oh god.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Terrified of magistrates. So the Caillou Inventor, a 2/1 for 2, 0 glory, Bushi, and engineer. Action: choose a holding you control. You may trigger each of that holding's triggered abilities an additional time each round, or a specified period. It will work eventually. Owen, so what does this
most flavor text ever?
Yeah, she ain't there yet. So currently her ability is permanent. So when you use it on a holding, the holding gets that additional action for the rest of the game. That is going to change, apparently. There is going to be a rules update that will alter that ability so that it is no longer permanent and merely lasts for the turn, as it was no doubt intended to be. At the moment, she works with 2 holdings. She works with Funeral Pyre, and she works with Karada District. Karada District is really good. Funeral Pyre is pretty good. Both of them suffer from a problem of keeping holdings around for an extended period of time cuts down how many dynasty flips you see, which is difficult. So Crab have a tendency to discard their holdings and get them back with rebuild when they want. And she lets you use it twice when it is. So she's okay. There is no, the killer app would be Karada District, and even still, Karada District is a bit inconsistent because there's only one per box. She will come into her own. She is not there yet. She's going to live quite happily in a binder, waiting for the right holding to come into play and play with. That's basically it.
Cool. So next up, we've got Mountaintop Sanctuary. So before we sort of go into the cards, I think we have you want to talk about the artwork on this, Owen, right?
Yeah, so the artwork on this card is misattributed. It's being credited to the very talented Noah Bradley, but it is not Noah Bradley's artwork. This is Charles Urbach's artwork for I believe it's the Dragon Clan Stronghold Pillars of Virtue from the old game. And it would be lovely if FFG issued a correction on that, just to say that sorry, very, very sorry, we misattributed this artwork. There was a mistake. This is actually Charles Urbach's card. if you look at that card, it's so obvious when you look at it, because of all of the Alpha War artists, only Charles has that kind of mastery of color and the use of colored pencils. His art's so vibrant for that reason, and it's so distinctive that it's just, it's absolutely Charles's art piece. It's one of Charles's fantastic art pieces, and he should definitely get some credit for that. I'd love to see him doing some work for the new game, actually, but yeah, it'd be lovely if FFG said, sorry, this was a mistake, we're very, very sorry, here's the appropriate accreditation for that card.
I'm sure they will. It seems like a database error. There's just a mismatching piece of data, wrong artist name with piece of art.
Yeah,
and
I gather the same card had two different pieces of art. Pillars of Virtue had two different pieces of art. So
I see.
So moving on to the card itself, a holding +1 province strength, temple. Reaction after this holding is turned face up, move it onto your stronghold. Action during a conflict at this province, sacrifice this holding, choose an attacking character, point cost 2 or lower, move that character home. Baz, what are your thoughts? Does this go into your decks?
I'm currently trying it out, and it does seem kind of cool. So with most decks, you're going to have a couple of slots where you're making characters and a couple of slots that are basically dead. That's why Imperial Storehouse and Favorable Ground are so good, because they're basically free extras. You're getting a decent chunk out of those, and then they go away. With this card, you're able to move it onto your stronghold and slowly build up the defense on your stronghold. So it is one of those few cards that will stick around and will help out in later turns. So you're generating a bit of investment or momentum, I guess you could say. So yeah, from that perspective, I like it. I've had a few games where I've flipped all of my provinces and I've looked at them and I went, oh wait, have I missed the reaction window to do this now? Because this is the first time where we've actually had to worry about reacting just after flipping something, as for me at least. I think there are going to be a lot of games where it comes down to the last province. I certainly have had a bundle like that. And if during the turn you were able to build up 3, and you can move 3 over to the Stronghold province, slowly building up as they reveal, if you can move those 3 over, that would be a pretty tough province to crack. On top of that, if you really want to mess around with this, we think you can rebuild a mountaintop sanctuary off of your stronghold, and then pop any other holding that you've got onto your stronghold at that point, and then leave it there. So I'm not sure how bad things can get with that. But we know that there were area provinces that we were dissing that we're just +3 province strike and not much else. That could be useful in that scenario, because it's not tying up a province because it's been moved off your stronghold. You don't care as much. In theory, you could get 2 of the dragon strongholds, dragon holdings onto it, which would mean at the start of each turn, your opponent, if they had more characters, would have to pick 2 characters and remove a fate. That's kind of cool. Obviously, that's contingent of first getting your mountaintop sanctuaries, moving them over, and then drawing the rebuilds and having your discard piles. So that's, those are kind of outside things, but you might be able to get 1 or 2 small things that could be interesting. So a bit later, we're going to talk about the Imperial Palace. The Imperial Palace might be an interesting one to move over if you've got those that influence and you're looking at the Splash Crab, which right now a lot of Dragon are. But by itself, yeah, I like it. It is a kind of card that you'll put in, you'll take out, but it is a free resource that is going to swing those really tight games where both sides are looking to take provinces. So that by itself could be game winning.
Okay, gonna move along to pitch.
I just want to say,
yeah,
sorry, I would love this in Crab. This would be absolutely amazing in Crab, because so many Crab guys require a holding in play. And this one actually gives Crab would give Crab a holding in play. And against Dragon, you always have a holding in play now. So that's really cool.
Interesting.
And
we're here
with
to help Crab.
no loss of momentum either. It doesn't like clog up a province or anything. So it's really nice.
So I've got Pit Trap, 3 cost for -1/-1. So expensive stats. Attached to a character, play only on an attacking character. Attached character does not ready during the regroup phase. And it is 3 influence cost. And it's obviously expensive. Too expensive, or
It's terrible. Currently, this card doesn't work. It literally doesn't work. It falls off the second they're no longer attacking. There was going to be an update to the rules document to indicate that how it should work, and it obviously doesn't fall off immediately. So that's how. Even if it did work, it's still a bad card. It's what it does is here's the problems with it. You spend 3 fate putting that card on another player's personality. It gives them -1/-1 while they're attacking. That's not going to win you most battles. You're spending 3 fate to not win the battle. Okay, and then all right, fine. You still probably lose the battle, or rather, you don't win the battle because of that card. All right, right. Okay, the person goes home. They go homebound. They're not going to straighten the next ready phase. The problem is that that's anti-synergetic for Crab. It means that if someone is then, okay, I need this person is really important, I want to ready them again, you can just attack first Ring of Water. Now, if the first problem with Ring of Water is that when you attack a Ring of Water, your opponent go, right, I'll defend with all my guys with no fate and leave my guys with fate at home alone, and you won't have a target for Ring of Water, because all your guys are attacking are going to bow after Ring of Water resolves. So that makes Ring of Water, that's the reason why Ring of Water is one of the best cards to attack with every game first turn. So it gives them immediate Ring of Water target. Because of the way Crab play, you want to occasionally force them to make a hard choice about who to sacrifice Way of the Crab. If the personality is in fact crippled by Pit Trap, all you have to do is go, right, well then I'll just use Way of the Crab. When you use Way of the Crab, I'll sack my guy on the Pit Trap instead. So there's anti-synergetic. It's anti-synergetic with it. Now, what's the other card you could play instead of this? The other card you could play is if you were actually looking to take someone out, because this doesn't take someone out of the battle, it takes somebody out next turn. If you really want to use a Crab card to take somebody out next turn, the card you should be playing is Jade Tetsubo. Because Jade Tetsubo costs 2, gives you 3 military, and if you've higher military, you can bow Jade Tetsubo to put the fate in the character back in the person's pool. Yeah, they get the fate back, but fate in the pool is a lot less valuable for fate than an expensive guy. So if you were looking at this card and looking, I want to play this card to deal with a guy for next turn, I'd play Jade Tetsubo instead. Any card that counters Pit Trap or would counter Jade Tetsubo also counters Pit Trap. Like if they were going to let go your Pit Trap, they would let go your Jade Tetsubo as well. So it's a wash pretty much. Jade Tetsubo just works better and does more than Pit Trap does. So I would totally play Jade Tetsubo way more than I play Pit Trap. Pit Trap's card. Just bad.
And it might help you win that conflict, because rather than giving them -1/-1, it's giving you +3 military, +3/+0. And it works straight away, whereas they've got an entire turn to sort out what they're going to do with Pit Trap.
There's so many ways around this.
Yeah, I have played Jade Tetsubo and I actually quite like it. But there's a certain style of deck, but I think it's a deck that does work well for Crab, because it's one where you can defend and slowly pick away their guys until the turns where they start with no one in play, and then you're good to go.
Okay, so
actually, just a point from the chat. The text we've been showing is actually updated text.
Apparently so. Yeah.
Which is really interesting. Which I guess that's the approach we're going to take.
So what did it say before? Does anyone know?
So before it says attached to an attacking character. Now it's been changed to attached to a character. This can only be played on an attacking character.
Yeah, so that is the correct text. Okay, so next we have Seal of the Phoenix. So +1 politics for 0. Attached character gains Phoenix clan symbol and the scholar trait. Any good, Justin?
If rumors are to be believed, this gets somewhat better after the next pack when Phoenix gets another really amazing character. But for the time being, I mean, actually, to be honest, even after Phoenix get that character, I still don't think this is going to make it into decks. It's just not good enough. It doesn't do enough. I think we can probably just safely move on. It has no interesting and immediate synergies, and even after it gets the first of the cards or the first of the possible cards, there may be more cards that synergize with Scholar. But even after that card arrives, it's still not a good card. So,
all right.
So
we should just skip on.
I've moved on.
Just before we go, it's worth noting that Naive Scholar and Solemn Scholar are the two existing Scholar characters, which are both 1 cost, which is good. So,
yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
The Imperial Palace, a neutral holding, which is Imperial, +2 province strength, 1 per deck. This holding counts +3 to your side during each glory count. So who's going to be playing this? Baz, any theories?
So I kind of discounted this when I first saw it, because as far as I could see, it just helped to take the favor. I had originally believed it would help with the Phoenix character, but I'm informed it doesn't, because that Phoenix character asks you to count glory, which is not considered to be a glory count. Okay. I don't quite understand, but that's where we are right now. But when we headed over to the Kotai, I was chatting to the guys, and apparently the Imperial Palace is a fantastic way to grab the favor and hold on to the favor and never let it go. Some even suggesting that that 1 copy should be in all decks. I'm not convinced because I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but it is a way to consistently play Censure, I guess. It most importantly has the Imperial trait. We're all about the Seppin Ishikawa, as we'll get to him. And obviously it's another option that Crab have. Crab can just decide, all right, this conflict phase hasn't gone as well as I want. I'm going to rebuild into the Imperial Palace. Now the favor is mine. So I don't know, but I think it may be in more decks than I was originally expecting, which was 1.
It's a simple card. I think it's going to be. There's no reason not to play it. Give me a good reason why I shouldn't put one of these in my deck. Why wouldn't Lion really want it? Anyone who wants the favor is going to want it. Scorpion's probably going to want it. Crane will want it. Like anyone who uses the favor for anything, or anyone who wants to play Censure with any sort of consistency, or with additional consistency, let's say, is going to want to play this card. This is a great card.
And how much of a... go on, Justin.
No, go with Owen.
No, I was going to ask, how much of a drawback is locking up a province with a holding, do you think?
It depends on the province. I would happily rebuild this onto, for example, a pilgrimage, and make my opponent really incredibly sad. Because a 7 strength pilgrimage, just every turn going, and I'm also grabbing the favor. Good luck. You're not. Yeah. People will definitely try to break this province, and the +2 is really valuable. I actually compare it to Miwako Kabe, the +3 province strength Imperial one that shuffles back in your deck. This card is just so much better.
Yeah,
it's 1 lower province strength. It's got so much more impact in the game. I would absolutely play a copy of this in Crab, and I would absolutely rebuild it. If you have gotten a good chunk of your holdings out, you're far less worried about leaving holdings in provinces. And if you're only playing 1 holding in a province, it's not nearly as bad. Because the killer with provinces is when you have a holding in one and you're worried you're going to flip another one, because that's going to only 2 things to buy. So you're okay. You're okay with 1. You're okay with losing 1 province, Yeah. So you're just worried you'd lose a second one when you flip, basically. But no, this card is fine. If you don't have much value for the favor, and your opponent doesn't have much value for the favor, it is less impactful. But hell, it's still the favor. The favor's still good.
So who loves the favor currently?
Lion.
Lion.
Phoenix.
Scorpion.
Crane.
Scorpion.
Lion. Phoenix.
I mean,
Scorpion.
Everybody loves the favor because it means your opponent doesn't have the favor, and if they don't have the favor, they can't play censure. So, I mean, the reason I think this is actually a one-off in every deck is not necessarily because you want the favor; it's because you don't want your opponent to have the favor.
Yeah.
And it's just it's an arms race card, and that's the reason. Again, one of the rules that I always use for card assessment is the Venn diagram between when a card shows up and when a card is actually good. And on that basis, I'm not sure that this card is super fantastic, because there will be situations where this card turns up where you're already winning the favor. Where you're already, and it's just not a good card in that situation. Like, it could be something better. But again, I think the issue is that the favor has become such an important mechanic over the course of this set that even if you don't necessarily want it yourself, you absolutely definitely don't want your opponent having it. So because of that reason, I think it is and should be in every single deck. It's an amazing card. It's an amazing card, and every deck.
Yeah.
Okay. So penultimate card, the Utaku Mediator. So a 1-cost 0/1 courtier for 0. As a Scorpion player, that sounds fine already. It gets +1/+1/1. You do not have the Imperial favor. Anyone want to take this? Owen.
1-cost characters are good. 1-cost characters are good. So +1. It's 0/1. That's poor stats. It gets +1/+1 while you don't have the Imperial favor. It's okay. It's 0 glory, which is actually nice. It could have more stats. It could be 0/2 for 1, and then you'd be like, oh wow, this guy really powers up when you know the favor, rather than this guy is slightly overstated for a 1-drop if I don't have the favor.
But you're never going to have the favor as Unicorn, so this is a great card.
I wouldn't go so far as to say that. She's a 1-drop. She's not a terrible 1-drop. 1-drops have value. I can't say, oh my god, this is a game changer. She's a 1/2 on turn 1. Cool. A little more in politics. That's nice. 0 glory courtier is nice. I mean, it means you can use some of the cards that require you to dishonor your guy without worrying about it. Cool. Like Scorpion would probably love this, but whatever.
Yeah.
Not great. Not neither terrible nor great. And they were, I think, Unicorn were hoping for a little bit of subtle greatness. Yeah.
Hoping for something better. All right. And so
just
go on.
Very briefly, the apparently the Unicorn courtier approach is something that is becoming more and more prevalent, and this character should fit straight into it.
Yeah.
From what I'm aware, some of the better decks or more successful decks at the Madrid Kotai were focusing on some of the courtiers.
I know. I've played Dave, one of the Unicorn players here, plays a lot of Unicorn Crane courtier deck, which I'm sure this will slot into. Yeah. Okay, and then final card is a neutral Imperial Philosophy, which is 2-cost event. Reaction: after 1 or more honor is given to you from an honor bid, gain that much honor. Justin, does this make you think honor running's gonna be a thing now? Is this the card that enables it?
It might. It absolutely might. Turn 1 honor victory confirmed. It's entirely possible. Like, turn 1 honor victory out of Lion is, unlikely, but not important. But you can do it.
I've heard of people talking about their turn 2 honor victories though.
Oh yeah, but turn 1. You can do it turn 1. Like, if you're a Lion player, they bid 5, you bid 1, you're up to 20. Charge.
Don't forget your
buy a guy, whatever. You can. I mean, you can contingency plan. That's not complicated too much because you don't need to do that because all you got to do is charge the Turi into military air conflict, resolve it. Attach an honored blade, resolve it twice, and there's your 25 honor turn 1. Boom, you win on the first conflict.
This strategy will work every time, right?
Absolutely. Well, in the United States, I think definitely. I mean, they love bidding 5 over there, by all accounts. And obviously, when you're talking about
it'll work 100% of the time.
Yeah, when you're talking about decks, or when you're talking about unicorns on our deck, this is a card that is I mean, basically, if you're playing if you're planning to win by honor or threaten winning by honor, then you are playing this card regardless because potentially gaining 8 honor for 2 fate is ludicrous. The amount of pressure you put your opponent under. Unicorn, if they gain 8 off this, they've got yurts flying left and right. All of a sudden you can easily place unicorn. Yeah, yacht. You can easily find a unicorn player on 20-22 honor in the first couple of turns, and they're not very far off winning at that point. And so I'm not sure if it's going to. I'm not sure if it's going to overnight transform honor into a victory condition everyone needs to be worried about. But I think people do need to start seriously considering how much they bid if their opponent has 2 fate open.
Yeah. And this, for me, this is one thing because we're getting so many good duels in the game now. There are so many good dueling cards out there. Every time you make your opponent bid, you're forcing them to think about this card. And if this card ever comes up with a 4 difference in the bid, it could be game over. It could be right then and there game over.
Yeah, right then and there. So it's a fascinating card for the environment. I don't think I'll be playing it myself personally, but I cannot wait to see someone get. Yes, I just can't wait to see someone lose out of absolutely nowhere when they bid 5, their opponent bids 1, and then their opponent just goes, "Way the Chrysanthemum."
The RKO out of nowhere.
I think there's been sort of decks that you can bid 5 against and decks that you bid low against, and this suddenly changes that. You don't just have to worry about Scorpion Crab, maybe Phoenix. You kind of need to worry about everyone now.
So the big problem about this is if this ever drives a successful deck, then people will adjust their bid style. And if you hit top 16 and your opponent has this in their deck, I mean, you're going to expect it. So,
but the thing there,
it's going to have to be part of a bigger party.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is, you can also leverage that knowledge to. I mean, like Andy says, there are a lot of really good duels around now. Policy debate being the king, the current king. And if your opponent knows that you've got Way of the Chrysanthemum in your deck, then you are compelling them to bid low on policy debate every single time, which means that even if you've only got a 1 to 2 point advantage, you can still bid 1 or 2 and very, very likely pull that policy debate off.
And you can throw duels as well. You can just you can put people in and just have a really important unit dueling a really important unit and throw the duel and gain 8 honor out of nowhere. It's just completely just catch them unawares.
Yeah. So do you splash one of these?
As Chad is pointing out, if you're doing it in a policy debate will take away the Chrysanthemum out of your hand before you can play it.
There's the opposite.
No, there's the opposite.
There's a very specific dual resolution, and honor happens before.
So if you lose a policy debate, you can play this first.
Yeah.
So how we thought it worked was good. Okay, so that's just me screwing up. But it's a card. I mean, actually, I would knowledge of this card, or your opponent knowing this card is in your deck, you can leverage that absolutely. So
it's a great card for the game.
Play one with no intention of ever using it.
It exists
just so you auto win all of your duels.
Yeah.
I mean, it puts a little bit more mind games back into the bid phase. I think. If a lion bids 1 turn 1, do you assume he has this in his hand? Possibly. maybe he hits a bluff. I think that can only be a good thing. Yeah. Okay. No response. Tumbleweeds. Fine.
It's I think that it's a potentially game-changing card. I don't think it does enough right now, but I'm pretty sure that once Honor gets more support, this card is going to be a terror.
Yeah.
It feels like Display of Power to me. It's on the same sort of swingy thing like Display of Power is.
Yeah.
Okay, so that wraps up.
Agree.
That wraps up the Chrysanthemum Throne set. Any so card of the set? Anyone want to pick anything other than Haughty Magistrate? We've got what have we got? Imperial Palace. We've spoken about. Way of the Chrysanthemum.
I think it's the two magistrates are the top dogs for me in this set.
Yeah. Agreed.
Ignoring those, I would say probably Imperial Palace after that, simply because of its ubiquity.
Before the throne.
I think Way of the Chrysanthemum for the playing the long game. I think that could down the road become really.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's an absolutely amazing pack. An absolutely amazing pack.
Agreed. This is a really this pack sort of shakes up the face of the game in some ways. It opens up a lot of different avenues for you. It brings a lot of very influential cards into the game, and I think with Way of the Chrysanthemum, it now makes another win condition viable. And even just having that card in the environment, it's like the assassination effect. It's like just having it there means so many good things for the rest of the game. It keeps people honest, or it can keep people honest.
Okay.
Yeah. So Unicorn got the shaft again, of course, but maybe things will start to pick up for them soon.
I think it's picking up. I think it's going to pick up for Unicorn. I think they have. They're getting pieces. They're getting small pieces.
To be fair, the Mediator isn't a terrible card. Like any cheap character, especially one with a trait, is worth it. I mean, she's very similar to the Otomo Courtier in ways. Gaijin Customs isn't there now, but it could be a real power card for them down the line. We just don't know what's going to come out. So I don't think it's not what they need now, but it might be a pack that they look back on and go, "Hey, I'm going to pop that into a deck right now."
The one good thing I'd say about Unicorn is that prior to this arc, Phoenix were looking very all over the place, and in 6 packs, Phoenix have gone from kind of
terrible to
top tier.
Absolutely
top tier. So they could be saved in cycle probably 3 because 2 is already probably designed. But cycle 3, good feeling. Unicorn
gonna be a good one.
Gonna come back. All of our stuff.